1. When an attacker captures network traffic and retransmits it at a later time, what type of attack are they attempting? A. Denial of service attack. B. Replay attack. C. Bluejacking attack. D. Man-in-the-middle attack. Answer: B. A replay attack occurs when the attacker captures a portion of the communication between two parties and retransmits it at a later time. For example, an attacker might replay a series of commands and codes used in a financial transaction to cause the transaction to be conducted multiple times. Generally, replay attacks are associated with attempts to circumvent authentication mechanisms, such as the capturing and reuse of a certificate or ticket. 2. What type of attack involves an attacker putting a layer of code between an original device driver and the operating system? A. Refactoring. B. Trojan horse. C. Shimming. D. Pass the hash. Answer: C. Shimming is the process of putting a layer of code between the device driver and the operating system. 3. You're reviewing a custom web application and accidentally type a number in a text field. The application returns an error message containing variable names, file names, and the full path of the application. This is an example of which of the following? A. Resource exhaustion. B. Improper error handling. C. Generic error message. D. Common misconfiguration. Answer: B. When an application fails to properly trap an error and generates error messages containing potentially sensitive information, this is known as improper error handling. 4. You're working with a group testing a new application. You've noticed that when 3 or more of you click submit on a specific form at the same time, the application crashes every time. This is most likely an example of which of the following? A. A race condition. B. A non-deterministic error. C. An undocumented feature. D. A DLL injection. Answer: A. This is most likely an example of a race condition. A race condition is an error condition that occurs when the output of a function is dependent on the sequence or timing of the inputs. In this case, the application crashes when multiple inputs are submitted at the same time because the application is not receiving the inputs or handling the inputs in the expected order. 5. An externally facing web server in your organization keeps crashing. Looking at the server after a reboot, you notice CPU usage is pegged and memory usage is rapidly climbing. The traffic logs show a massive amount of incoming HTTP and HTTPS requests to the server. Which type of attack is this web server experiencing? A. Input validation. B. Distributed error handling. C. Resource exhaustion. D. Race condition. Answer: C. Resource exhaustion is the state where a system does not have all of the resources it needs to continue to function. In this case, the server does not have the memory or CPU capacity to handle the massive volume of incoming HTTP/HTTPS requests. 6. Your organization is considering using a new ticket identifier with your current help desk system. The new identifier would be a 16-digit integer created by combining the date, time, and operator ID. Unfortunately, when you've tried using the new identifier in the ticket number field on your current system, the application crashes every time. The old method of using a 5-digit integer works just fine. This is most likely an example of which of the following? A. Common misconfiguration. B. Zero-day vulnerability. C. Memory leak. D. Integer overflow. Answer: D. An integer overflow is a programming error condition that occurs when a program attempts to store a numeric value, an integer, in a variable that is too small to hold it. In this case, the 16-digit integer is too large for the field, which is working just fine with the 5-digit integer. 7. While examining a laptop infected with malware, you notice the malware loads on startup and also loads a file called netutilities.dll. Each time Microsoft Word is opened. This is an example of which of the following: A. Race condition. B. DLL injection. C. System infection. D. Memory overflow. Answer: B. This is an example of DLL injection, which is the process of adding to a program, at runtime, a DLL that has a specific function. Vulnerability that can be capitalized upon by an attacker. 8. A web application you are reviewing has an input field for username, and indicates the username should be between 6 and 12 characters. You've discovered that if you input a username that's 150 characters or more in length, the application crashes. What is this? Is an example of A. Memory leak. B. Buffer overflow. C. Directory traversal. D. Integer overflow. Answer: B. This is a fairly classic example of a buffer overflow. The input routine does not validate the provided input to ensure a maximum of 12 characters is received and processed. In this case, the application tries to store all 150, or more, characters of the username, resulting in areas of memory being overwritten and causing the application to crash. 9. Your organization is having issues with a custom web application. The application seems to run fine for a while but starts to lock up or crash after 7 to 10 days of continuous use. Examining the server, you notice that memory usage seems to climb every day until the server runs out of memory. The application is most likely suffering from which of the following? A. Memory leak. B. Overflow leak. C. Zero-day exploit. D. Pointer dereference. Answer: A. Memory leaks are programming errors caused when a computer program does not properly handle memory resources. Over time, while a program runs, if it does not clean up memory resources as they are no longer needed, chunks of dead memory can become scattered across the program's footprint in memory. If a program executes for a long time, these dead memory areas can grow in size and consume resources, causing the system to crash. 10. Your database server is returning a large dataset to an online user, saturating the network. The normal return of records would be a couple at most. This is an example of what form of attack? A. Memory leak. B. LDAP injection. C. Man in the middle. D. SQL injection. Answer: D. Excessive records being returned from a SQL query is a sign of SQL injection.